Hey, welcome back everyone. How you doing? It is me, Mr. 4K Upscaler. So, this video is going to be a remake video for my previous episode, episode 5, Nostalgic Gaming, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. I just felt that my previous video that I was doing, it had all kinds of problems with sync in audio, and I felt that I need to redo that video. So that's what basically this is. It is me redoing my episode 5 nostalgic gaming series. So that's what we're going to be doing here. What you're looking at here, it's a PlayStation 2 HD version, okay, and this is a PlayStation 2 remastered HD version that was also available on PlayStation 3, I think. It was available on PlayStation 3. However, this is emulated version through a PC. So what you're looking at here is the emulated PlayStation 2 version through PC. So what I'm gonna be doing here, I'll be talking about Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, and how much this game, to me, was a big deal. When I mean big deal, I mean it was a big deal in terms of graphics. This game, when it was originally released in 2001, and when they showed the original demo in 2000 of E3 show, 2001 E3 show summer, you guys have to remember, for a gaming console, for a PlayStation 2, for a gaming console, we haven't seen these types of graphics. But even 20 years later, fast forward, well, 19 years later, you fast forward and it is still good looking. This game still, it's a good looking game. Now, the reason I say 19 years, because I'm counting 2000, because this game was developed in 2000, throughout 98, 99, 2000, and then it was officially released in 2001. So to me, when this game came out, it was something that I haven't seen before for the consoles. You have to remember, this is pre how would I say this? Pre-motion. I'm using my Xbox controller here. This is a pre-motion capture. Today I cannot talk. This was a pre-motion capture. This was a green screen rendering and all this other stuff. Okay, so to see something like this being rendered in 3D and being portrayed onto a console was a huge, huge deal. And I remember when the demo was available for this game, I purchased Zone of the Enders just for this game. No, really, I purchased Zone of the Enders just for this game, and I was totally blown away by the demo. I mean, even to this day, I'm still blown away by this game. Even after 19 years, I look at this game, and it's still that great looking Metal Gear. It was really ahead of its time. What I'm trying to say here, this game was really ahead of its time in terms of graphics, the motion, physics, everything, the motion capture of the physics of the 3D rendering. Remember, there was no dots, there was no green screen here, mocap, motion capture, okay? This was all done in 3D. It was all rendered in 3D without any motion capture, none of that nonsense. So when I say that this game was ahead of its time, I really do mean it was ahead of its time. And even today, still today, I look at this game and I say to myself, wow, it still holds up. Look at the rain effects and everything. It just looks great. And when this game was released, it also was flexing the PlayStation 2 muscle. You know, this game, Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, was like a testament to what this console can do. And it really showed everyone that, hey, look what we can do on this console. Look what we're able to achieve. And I think this is where, in PlayStation 2, where with this game, we started to realize that Sony is definitely pushing for a AAA quality games. They're pushing for the types of games that are going to give you that AAA quality and that AAA experience. That's exactly what we got with this game when it was originally released. I mean, I'm looking at this game right now as you guys are looking at it, and it still looks fantastic, man. It still looks amazing. Look at these effects. Rain, drips, the hair works, the movement, everything. If this game was released today like this, I would still be impressed. So now you know why, to me, Metal Gear Solid 2 was a big deal. You know. And this is another reason why I always liked Hideo Kojima. I liked Hideo Kojima because he really cares about the project. You know what I mean? This gentleman, Hideo Kojima, cares about the project, meaning he's not going to waste his time making something that he doesn't believe is going to look its best. And we don't see that many gaming developers like Hideo Kojima. We don't see that anymore. Maybe Project CD Red, I would say, would be the one that I would say with Cyberpunk, that new Cyberpunk 2077. I'm sorry, guys, that today I just can't think. I can't remember the Cyberpunk 77 whatever 277. Who cares? I can't remember the exact year of the game. And I think CD Projekt Red is, to me, personally, it's another company that's as close to Kojima production as you're gonna get, because they're passionate too, just like Hideo Kojima is passionate. And I'm pretty sure that CD Projekt Red was inspired by Kojima. But Kojima's an old guy. He's been doing this for, what, 4 decades? 3 decades, I'm sorry. 3 decades. 3.5 decades. He's been doing this. So, you know, he's been doing this for a long time. So, a lot of inspiration comes from Hideo Kojima when it comes to gaming. He is the Spielberg of video games. And I always keep telling people, well, why do you call Kojima the Spielberg of video games? Because what Spielberg is to the movies, Hideo Kojima is to video games. In my opinion, honestly. And I'm pretty sure you guys will agree on that too. Now, another question that a lot of people have been asking me, was I inspired by the Metal Gear to do the mimic voiceover of David Hayter? And the answer is yes. You know, since I was a huge fan of Metal Gear, I was always inspired by that voice that David Hayter has. You know what I mean? Like, the anti-Metal Gear organization recognized, but still French Otacon. And that's me doing it You know, a lot of people ask me, how did you do that? All right, let's look at your gear. Your weapon's a tranquilizer gun, converted from Beretta M92F. What you have to do is you have to lower your chords. You know, your vocal cords, they have to be very deep. So it has to go like deep. So it has to go really deep. And then once you get to that deep level of your vocal cords, then you have to almost like tweak. You have to tweak that sound. So basically, if it's too growly like this, as for the equipment, then you gotta go and tweak it down to, what is going on? It is kind of a lucky charm. You haven't read the Surgeon General's warning, have you? Here's the digital camera. Works almost the same. Many's your old one. So that's pretty much. Why is all this rain over here? Otacon, are you sure these are not Marines? So, yes, I was inspired by the Metal Gear. I was inspired by, by this game to do that voiceover. And I'm not taking anything away from David Hayter. To me, David Hayter, is the king. He has done like gazillions of hours. Think about just how difficult that was for him. It is cool for us, sitting in a nice comfy couch, in a nice air-conditioned house, playing a Metal Gear game. But imagine just how difficult it was for him to be doing all of these voiceovers with countless and countless and countless and countless of hours, just countlessly doing the voiceover for the this game. Imagine it. I mean, I just did it for like a couple of minutes and it was like already tiring. Imagine doing it for like thousands of hours. Satellite, I say the cargo holds safely below the deck. Do you see the entrance to the holds? Looks like there are a few entryways into the crew quarters. Imagine a chopper, a cipher. I mean, imagine doing this for like thousands of hours. No, it can't be. So that takes a lot of effort and time. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the music composer by Harry Gregson Williams. I don't know if you guys know who Harry Gregson Williams. He's the English composer that was almost like an apprentice to the great Hans Zimmer. So he basically comes from Hans Zimmer school, if you will. And Metal Gear was his first video game in 1998 that he composed, and from that game he started getting more commercials, other work, and sooner than later he got involved into movies. Tony Scott, the late Tony Scott, Ridley Scott's brother, pretty much used Harry Gregson Williams in all of his movies. Movies like Man on Fire. His brother Ridley Scott used him in Kingdom of Heaven. It's so many movies. Okay, so to me, that's why this game adds to even more of an impact of experience, because we have not only a great gaming director developer here, Hideo Kojima, and his team, but at the same time we also have a composer, a really good composer, Harry Gregson Williams, that composed this game. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and he said to me, do you think that we're ever gonna get that same feeling, that same type of experience that we had with games like this one, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 1, even the Snake Eater, even the Guns of the Patriots, and then the games like the original Resident Evil 2, like Dreamcast, Code Veronica. are we ever going to get those types of new IP games that are going to like really excite us? Well, I think Cyberpunk, it's definitely going to be that one game that it's going to excite us. I think Cyberpunk, it's going to be 10 out of 10 easily. And I also think another game that's going to excite us is Death Stranding. A lot of people are judging Death Stranding based on the gameplay in a trailer, but that's because Hideo Kojima doesn't want you to know everything about what the game is, what the gameplay is about, who the characters are. He doesn't want to tell you too much. Actually, he's not telling you anything. And I think that's the best way to represent a project or a movie or a game, in my opinion. Now, as you can see, I just went in there and I opened these lockers. And when you open these lockers, you will see for example, some posters and some other stuff. So it's pretty cool. As I was saying, I think Death Stranding is going to be another game that, hold on a second. Here we go. It's going to be another game that I think we are going to be surprised and impressed, and in some ways be shocked just how good the Death Stranding is going to be when it's officially being released. I don't care if the game comes out in 2020 or 2021. I don't even care if the game comes out in PlayStation 5. Even better, if it comes out in PlayStation 5. Meaning the game's going to look even more polished up. It's going to look even more ridiculously great. So, I'm not worried about Death Stranding. I'm not worried about it because the master is working on that game. Hideo Kojima's working on it. So you know that you're going to be in for an experience. You know when you purchase that $60, $63, you know that your money was well spent. And I think that's the great experience. When you buy a game and you know that your $63 was money well spent, you're going to have a good time. You know. But let's get back to this game. Like I said, there were so many unique features in Metal Gear Solid 2. The interaction with everything around you, like you can shoot a fire extinguisher and the smoke will go off. You can shoot a watermelon, is going to split many different particles. Like the physics in this game were done realistically. And again, you have to remember, this was pre-motion capture, pre-green screen, all this other stuff. This was simply game engine 3D rendering. And that's why I say Metal Gear Solid 2 was ahead of its time. And of course, Snake Eater was the same engine that was used in Metal Gear Solid 2. And it really shows, even in Snake Eater. But I still like the style of Metal Gear Solid 2, you know. You guys gotta remember, this is the reason why this was so unique to me, because this is someone coming from a PlayStation 1, and the way it looked pixelated, the way the characters looked so pixelated in a Metal Gear Solid 1 from PlayStation 1, and then jumping into this, now you understand what a big deal this was. You know, to see something like this. I know it's hard for you, new generation, to understand that. But for us, my generation, to see something like this in 2001, just shortly after a couple of years, me playing Metal Gear Solid 1 on PlayStation 1, to see something like this and these types of graphics, it was just mind-boggling, man. You know, there wasn't anything quite like this. Not that I remember. You know. I mean, just look at that rain, the way it's bouncing off of the soldiers, off of the that ship, and also the camera angle. There's like a really great depth of field in this game. Everything feels three-dimensional, you know. And I'm looking at this game right now, and even to this day, I'm still blown away. Just like how ahead of its time Metal Gear really is. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, really was. Yeah.
Snake, did you find out where that ship is headed?
And I think I already talked about the story of Metal Gear Solid 2, and just how important that aspect of the game really was to me. Where we learn more about Shadow Moses, the idea behind Shadow Moses, DARPA Chief, Liquid, Ocelot, and of course the Patriots. These, if you want to call them philosophers, these Patriots, these secret society Patriots that are controlling everything in the country, and they are behind this entire thing, you know. And we also learn more about the Olga Gurlikovich, so to see, you know, this character, and also to see her father, the general of the Russian army, and then how they're connected. I mean, there's so much on this sequel that if you play the first one, Metal Gear Solid 1, and then you jump into Metal Gear Solid 2, and if you pay attention, there's everything gets explained. And when you finish playing Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, when you go to Guns of the Patriots, there shouldn't be any confusion, because we understand how the Fox Die virus is made. Now we understand that Solid Snake was going after the Ocelot, because the Ocelot was going after the Patriots. But we also find out that the original Patriots, 12 of them, actually were killed 100 years ago. So you see, this is how far back this whole Metal Gear universe goes. And I always felt that Metal Gear Solid 5, I think the one criticism that I had for Hideo Kojima, I think he made a mistake by going back to Big Boss. I think Snake Eater and Peace Walker pretty much told us everything we need to know about the Big Boss. Okay, if you play the Snake Eater, you pretty much understand who Big Boss is. We all understand why. We all understand how the Outer Haven was created. We all understand why he was such an important figure, and why they were trying to clone him to make another super soldiers similar to him, another leaders similar like him. Okay, so I felt that the Phantom Pain really wasn't that necessary, because Snake Eater pretty much explained everything to us, along with the Peace Walker. Snake Eater and Peace Walker pretty much tell us the backstory of the Big Boss, okay, and his, you know, how should I put this? His godfather, if you will, a godmother, if you will, the boss, the original boss. Okay, and we all know who she is. So I felt that Hideo Kojima necessarily didn't need to make another Big Boss game. I think he made a mistake by making a Phantom Pain. Phantom Pain, it's something he could have done as a side game down the road. But I think what he should have done, he should have hire the same crew. Hideo Kojima should have hired David Hayter as a voiceover and motion cap if possible. Should have brought the same, you know, cast, including David Hayter, and he should have continued where Guns of the Patriots ended, because I felt the way Guns of the Patriots, Metal Gear Solid 4 ended, I felt there's so much unanswered questions, and we don't have to go back to the Phantom Pain to understand more about the big boss, because we already know a pretty good amount about the big boss, okay, and the Miller and all of these other characters, okay, and I felt that he should have made a sequel to the Guns of the Patriots, and it should have been only exclusive for PlayStation 4. I mean, PlayStation 4. But then again, you know, it is what it is. Like I said, are we ever gonna? Here's, you know, this is the question that if you go to these Metal Gear forums, like a true Metal Gear forums, and you will see the questions always being asked: are we ever going to see a sequel to Guns of the Patriots? Because the way Metal Gear Solid 4 ended, it really ended in a way that it left you hanging. You're like, okay, wait a minute, is Snake alive? Is he dead? Did he survive? Were they able to find a cure? Was he able to stop that manifestation of that virus and Fox died? Was he able to save Snake? Because we don't know. There's so much unanswered questions. And also so much unanswered questions about Rose as well, and Raiden. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that I think if Hideo Kojima and Konami come to some good terms, you know, because we all know Konami still holds the license of the Metal Gear franchise. So if for some reason Hideo Kojima is able to make some kind of a peace and partnership again with Konami, I think we deserve a sequel to Guns of the Patriots. Metal Gear Solid 6, Guns of the Patriots. They should call it just Metal Gear Solid 6, The Patriots Legacy, or something like that. Or something along the way, or just The Patriots. But I think The Patriots Legacy, Metal Gear Solid 6, The Patriots Legacy, I think would be much better. Again, but if that's going to happen, we don't know. It's just my wishful thinking. And I mean, I'm just simply saying there's so much. There's so much of story to be told in Metal Gear universe. That I really hope that maybe some new CEO in Konami will come along and he'll say, hey, you know, there's so much we need to learn about this Metal Gear universe. And let's bring Hideo Kojima back. Let's bring his team back. You know, it is his project. It's his baby. He created this. He gave birth to this. So it is his. So the right thing would be to give this project to Hideo Kojima and let only Hideo Kojima. My advice to Konami is, if you want to continue with Metal Gear franchise, you have to give it back to Kojima. Only he can continue and tell us the rest of the story. What happens after Guns of the Patriots? Or whether or not Solid Snake is alive, or what happened. Or did they clone the old Snake, or who knows? So there's so much to be told. Now also, when you're playing Metal Gear game, it's really like a journey. It's like a journey. It's almost like you're watching a really good 10 part miniseries TV show. It's very immersive. It's always at the edge of your seat. There's so much that you learn. There's always new things happening, and I think this is what made Metal Gear, in my opinion, such a successful franchise, because of all of these elements that were put into the story, you know. And for those of you who never played Metal Gear, for those of you who are, I'm sorry guys, because I'm you know, I'm basically I'm playing this, and at the same time I'm talking. So you know, when I'm playing and talking, it's kind of hard for me to think and play at the same time. But what I was trying to say is that when you play this game, it's really like an experience. You know, it's like you really going to have an experience. And for those of you who never played Metal Gear, you know, let's say you were born in 2006 or 2007 or 2004, and you never played a Metal Gear, this game, it's something you have to try. I would say first play Metal Gear Solid 1, and then play Metal Gear Solid 2, this one, and then play Guns of the Patriots. And when you finish Guns of the Patriots, then you can go back to the big boss, to his father, and then play Snake Eater. And after you finish playing Snake Eater, then you go to a Peace Walker to find out how Naked Snake met the boss, the big boss. And then you're going to learn more and more about the story. And remember, you have to play in this order, so that way that you understand how the story navigates through this game, throughout this game. Once you understand the story of Metal Gear Solid, once you play through all of the Metal Gear games, then you're truly going to appreciate just like how great this franchise is, you know. And it's really sad that we're not going to be seeing the Metal Gear games being made by Hideo Kojima, you know. And I remember, you know, as I'm right now, I remember when I first got the demo. Even on the demo, I mean, I spent hours and hours just being in this ship, playing around, right now, Raven, you know. There was so much stuff for you to discover. There's so many Easter eggs. There's so many little tiny things, like right there. You see that? You see little icons right there. You know, Kojima always likes to give us a little clues. All these clues he likes to put on the video game, so that way we have better understanding on what's coming next, or it's almost like connecting the dots. You know, the way Hideo Kojima make these games, he always likes to leave a little hints and clues, and these hints and clues, they always give you some idea as to where this story is going. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to focus here as I'm moving through. This is being played on normal, you know, so that's why it's so easy. But I know this game so well. I played it so many times. I pretty much know where everything is. I played like countless of times. Originally, I was gonna do live stream of this game, but I just didn't have that energy, guys, to be playing through like 5 hours, 6 hours. You know, I have to be like, I have to have energy to do it. You know, I gotta have full energy, full bar energy for me to see. Like right there, I'm just showing the little, taking little photos there, all these little hints and clues. And I think you guys should play this entire game without killing anyone. Just put everyone to sleep, and you will get a bunch of rewards. You will see a bunch of little Easter eggs. When you play it second time around, you will see a bunch of cool things. Because this is the Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance. And when you play a Substance, you get rewarded when you put everyone to sleep. And you don't kill anyone, you just put them to sleep. The only reason I like Substance is because of the replay value, because there's so much cool things you can do on the Substance. Like, by the way, if you have Metal Gear Solid 3 Substance, Snake Eater, on that game you can actually there's some more photos right there. You can actually play as Solid Snake instead of Big Boss throughout the entire game, and you can also play as Raiden throughout the entire game. So that's pretty cool.
Snake, wait! Don't move. What? Look at the walls on both sides of the hall. I see something. Infrared sensors.
And I'm also wondering how many of you actually played through all of the Metal Gear games. You know, I don't know, I'm just kind of curious, so after this video you guys can leave a comment down below and let me know how many of you actually played throughout a Metal Gear Solid games. Because I'm just curious to see how many of you actually know the story of Metal Gear. I know Metal Gear story so well, I know it well. But I'm just kind of curious to see as to what you guys know about the Metal Gear and the storyline, and just like just how deep the Metal Gear franchise is, you know. And another thing I want to say about this game and Hideo Kojima, I think it's really important, and I think it's something that I don't know if Hideo Kojima did this purposely or not purposely, or if he injected it on purpose or not on purpose, I don't know. But the one thing that I did notice and I did pay attention to was every and each game that he makes, and every and each Metal Gear he made, there's a message. You know, there's a message there. Whether we're talking a message about life, how you should live your life, or some kind of like inspiring message to get you out of depression so you can move forward. There's also philosophical questions. There's a lot of stuff in his game that also it makes you as a player think about, that's interesting. Like, how am I living my life? You know, am I living my life to my fullest potential? How am I treating other people? How am I interacting with the other people? How am I controlling myself? And there's a lot of stuff that's injected by Hideo Kojima in his games that actually talk about these things. But you have to read it between the lines. You know, it's one of those things. I caught on it because I've been playing Metal Gear for such a long time, and I have caught onto these things, and I have seen it. And to me, that's remarkable that Hideo Kojima is actually implementing these messages into a video games. And another significant thing about Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, at one point The game almost was pushed back, because of that tragedy that happened, the 9/11, September 2001, 9/11, and that day changed everything. And this game was going to be released a couple of months after that, in November 11th, 2001. And it almost got pushed back because the entire scenario of this game is centered in Manhattan, New York, Hudson River. So it was, very sensitive. Whether or not Sony was very hesitant, whether or not, and Konami was very hesitant, whether or not to release this game in November of 2001 or to push it back to 2002. But luckily, I guess the executives and the Konami and Sony were able to convince everybody out there that, even though this game does take place in New York, Hudson River, Manhattan, however, there's a positive message that comes out of it at the end in this game. It's about heroism. It's about doing the right thing. It's about making the world a better place. And it's about stopping that evil that's out there, that exists in this world. So it had a good message. And I think this is something that not many people talked about this and brought this issue. Because it's a sensitive issue, but I'm bringing it up here because I think it's important that people have a little backstory about this game, and of course the events that happened in September, and where there was talks that they were thinking about pushing the game back, like in summer of 2002 or something like that, due to the tragedy that happened. But because this game is heroic, there's a heroism here, there's an inspiration to be heroic and to stop evil. And the best way of heroism to prove here is by Solid Snake. Solid Snake, it's not just Solid, but also the Otacon, everyone played their role, the Raiden. So there's a lot of heroes here. They're trying to do the right thing to stop the world into imploding into this nuclear holocaust. Okay, to stop the madmen, to stop the evil forces out there that exist, and that they do exist. And I think this is the message that Hideo Kojima was trying to show us here. But he was also telling us that life, it's not just about everything being perfect and being good. Life, it's about both positive and negative. It's about balance between good and bad. And that's what we've seen. That's what we saw. At least that's what I saw. And that's what I took from this game when it was originally released in 2001. Sorry about my focus in camera. Sometimes he does that. He goes off and on, Now this is Ocelot. Now Ocelot has the arm. Remember, his original arm got cut off by that ninja in the first game, Shadow Moses Island in Alaska. And now, of course, the prosthetic hand is the hand of Liquid. So the Liquid hand, it's like split personality. You have Liquid living inside. Think of it this way: Liquid possessed Ocelot. Now Ocelot's still Ocelot to some degree, but there's a split personality. You have like schizophrenic side of Ocelot versus Liquid. But Liquid seems to be the one that's pushing him into the direction that the Liquid wants to go. I remember this one, this part right here. where you have to go take the pictures, and there's some funny things when you go that when you walk around at this lower deck on the ship. When you take the photos, if you take the wrong photo, or if you take the photo of something funny, the Otacon will cuss you out. Will say, well, he will not cuss you out, but he will be really upset, and he's going to say something funny. Just this was a prologue, and one thing I want to point out: the Metal Gear Solid 2 doesn't really start till the tanker is sunk, till we jump to Raiden. I'm sorry. This is a prologue, and the prologue, it can take you up to 2 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours, maybe even more, maybe 4 hours, depending on how slow you're playing. So the prologue of this game, it's even longer. It's the longest prologue I have ever seen in the game. And then after that, we restart the game with Raiden on the big shell. And of course, as you all know, the big shell was just to cover up the gear arsenal that holds all of these Metal Gears. And you know, I mean, that's for those of you who haven't played this game. You know. Again, sorry about my camera focus.
I hitched a ride on Link 16 into U.S. military's proprietary network. Managed to get into that workstation and overrode a part of the system.
So
I could remote
I don't know if there's anything else I can say. Like I said, this video, it's a video that I wanted to make due to the fact that my episode 5 was just not that good. There was all sorts of issues with the audio and video sync in, and I knew that I had to go ahead and go back to the episode 5 of Nostalgia Gaming and do this video again, redo this video. Tomorrow I might do not Silent Hill 2.
I hacked into his personal files and took a look at the text of that speech. I'd say you have 7 more minutes.
Tomorrow I might do some other game. I'm not sure if I'm going to do Silent Hill. I'm debating between Silent Hill 2 or a Final Fantasy 8. You know, I'm debating like which game I should like do next.
First the photos. All right, we'll deal with the rest when we get there. Stay low.
Another thing I want to say. As you'll see, I'm going to go down and take some photos. Another thing I want to say is the fact that no matter how much I play this game, or even after 19 years, almost 20 years, every time I go back to this game, it's always like you playing it like new. It's always like brand new. It's timeless. You know, Hideo Kojima creates games that are timeless. You can always play them, you know. And this is what I was talking about. You know, this is something that I don't see in today's gaming industry. I mean, really, today's games are really garbage when you compare them to what we had before. And just for example, look at The Crew 2, their racing game, The Crew 2. I've seen people spend $100 on that game. I said, are you kidding me? You spend $100 on a game that it's online only, and if they stop updates on that game, if the servers go down, guess what? That $100 goes down the drain. Meaning, if the servers are not active anymore for The Crew 2, that game you bought, that you bought, guess what? It's not yours anymore. I just don't understand, why are the gamers okay with this? Why are you okay spending $63 for something that you can only be online, okay? And why are you, on top of that, spending another $60 to get the DLC pass, season pass, and all these other goodies? Meaning, you don't own the game. once they stop development of their game, because it's online only, MMO, once it's done, massively multiplayer online, once it's done, guess what?
Gear.
You won't be able to play that game anymore. I'm just not a fan of buying a game that's online only. I think multiplayer should be an optional thing, you know. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing this point, it's because back in those days, back in 1998, 1999, 2000, 2001, when you purchased a game, you own that game. It is yours. When you purchase it, it's yours. You own it. Okay? But you know, you don't. Hold on a second. Alright, I'm just. Let me take the photo here. Hold on a second. Here. I'm just trying to focus here.
I have a daughter. It is my greatest wish never to have her or her children experience the horror of nuclear war.
Put him to sleep, though. Go to sleep.
Father, I want to leave a better world for future generations. As a soldier, I know.
I'll take another photo.
Metal Gear Ray is amphibious, unlike the army.
Oh yeah, first I have to go to console. I'm sorry. I have to take the photo that I took and put it in console. But anyways, I was saying, I don't see those types of games anymore. I don't see games where when you buy it, it's yours. You know, you have a sense of ownership. You know, I don't feel that sense of ownership with today's games, guys. I don't see it, and that's kind of sad. It is sad that there's this generation, this gaming generation, will never know what it's like not being online. What it's like, what's it like to be able to take the console with you, very small, compact, put a disc inside, put a memory card inside, plug it into a TV, and boom, you go. You don't need to be connected to internet. There's no updates, and you're good to go. Everything's on the disc. The game is yours. It is yours to keep. It is yours to play. You see, I did this on purpose, just so that way you guys can see what Otacon's going to say. And just, you know, it's just some funny stuff you can do here. You can have fun. You see, he's you see, these are the fun things you can do, you know, on the Metal Gear. Put a little humor on there. But anyways, I was saying earlier on my comment is the fact that, you know, we don't see this generation will never know unless they buy PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1 on the eBay and then buy some of these discs and put them in and play them. I don't think they will ever know what it was like to be able to play a game and not be focused whether or not you are online, whether or not you have a subscription to a PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live membership, you know. And I miss those days, man. For this new current generation, actually not being online, it's unacceptable. So for them, this is normal, this is standard, you know, and they accept it as a standard. Okay, I'm willing to pay $60 to $100 to play games online, and I'm okay with that. And it hurts me to see it go this way, because that's not what it was like in those days, you know. So anyway, I think I said everything that needs to be said on this video. I think 1 hour, it's good enough. You know, I covered my feelings about this game and why I think it was a big deal and why this game was ahead of its time, and it still is ahead of its time in both graphics, gameplay, story. I mean, there's so much. It was probably one of the greatest sequels that I have seen
Excellent speech, my friend.
in a game, and hands down the most anticipated sequel,
It's the mark of a good
I would say, on a console, period.
and
There was nothing more anticipated,
Americans are too in love
greater
with
than
their own
than this
to speak the truth.
Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of
Identify
Liberty.
yourself.
So I talked about Hideo Kojima, I talked about him a little bit, I talked about
I am
Konami, I
Shalash,
talked about
also called
how close
Ova.
this game came to not being released in November and being pushed to a 2002 due to the tragedy that happened in 9/11. And also
What do you want?
my critique on Hideo Kojima
Machine will be quite useful.
for making
Ready to do.
another Big Boss game.
Steel.
You know, I just felt it was not necessary for us to go back to Big Boss on a Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. I felt that he made a mistake with that. That could have waited. You know what I mean? I think what we should have gotten was the sequel to 2008 Guns of the Patriots. That's what we should have gotten. But apparently, you know, look, I liked Phantom Pain. It was great that we learned more about Big Boss. But I'm simply saying that could have waited. It was not necessary. Because we already learned through Snake Eater and through Peace Walker, we already learned about Big Boss. And of course, in the Guns of Patriots, they explain a little bit more. But I just felt that there should have been a sequel to the Guns of the Patriot, and I would have called it
This ship now carries enough Simtex
The Great Philosophers or
points
The Legacy of the Patriots or something
to
like
touch
that.
of this button.
But anyway, like I said, I covered everything that I need to cover in this 1 hour. Like I said, this is one of my favorite games of all time. I mean, for me personally. Like I said, even after all these years,
We're almost at the target.
every time I play this game, it's like playing a brand new game. It's really that good. There's Metal Gear Raid. That's Raid. The Rex was the one that was in the first one. And if you play Guns of the Patriots, after you finish this game and you jump into the Guns of the Patriots, you will learn more about the Fox Die virus. You will learn more about how Snake got infected by that. And you will learn more about Naomi, learn more about the Vamp, the Dead Cell. You learn more about the Patriots, you know, but not to the extent that not everything will be answered in Guns of the Patriots. And I think this is why such needed sequel for Guns of the Patriots was really needed to be there. And I hope maybe one day we'll see Hideo Kojima and Konami get together, put away their differences, and make a true sequel to the Guns of the Patriots. Make the best Metal Gear game possible
Yes.
with the best possible graphics
To the page.
on the PlayStation 5 or whatever, and make it like a 400 hours long game. Answer all the questions. Let it be the last Metal Gear game, but let it be the best last Metal Gear there is. And I think that's what we need. I think after that, they can close a chapter on the Metal Gear, you know, if they do that. So anyway, hopefully you guys like this video, this nostalgic gaming episode 5 that I had to redo due to the fact that my previous episode 5 was total mess. I had all sorts of technical problems, so hopefully you guys like this video. It's been 1 hour, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it.
Sergey, looks like you were long overdue for retirement.